instant. Hold on. Hey, hello and welcome to football. Okay. Hello and welcome to Football Mania, guys. Our weekly meet is here. Shruth, I forgot to say hi to Shruth. Shruth, looking good as usual. Okay, perfect. So, guys, today's session we'll have to be a little quick on all the topics. We have a lot of things to discuss, uh, and today we need, as community members, we need your input on a lot of things. So I hope you guys are ready. Uh, Before we start of anything, I'm going to tell you what all is in store for us today. Pranay looks a little bothered, man. Pranay, all good?
Yeah, man, I was just securing my connection.
Okay, cool. So, guys, today we'll discuss all the big games that happened over the last weekend in the Premier League. We'll start with La Liga today. We'll move on to Serie A, and then we'll move on to EPL in the end. And I'll touch upon a bit of ISL as well. With me today, we have Siddhant Shetty as well, who can take us through some of the games that happened in ISL as well. And we'll finish with something fun, obviously. But before that, we also have to discuss our meetup. So we do plan to meet up, guys, as a community. Or I know all of us are in different cities. Okay, I wait. Guys. I think there are still people coming in, so I don't want them to miss out on anything. Hi, Hitesh, and I think Ajinkya is also trying to join. Hitesh, can you hear me?
Hey Apoor, how are you?
Good, man, good. Hey, it would be great.
I'm sorry, my internet is a little jammed. Just give me
Okay.
a second.
Okay, whenever you're ready, you can switch your cameras on and we like to see.
Just give me a second. My internet
Okay,
is a
no
little
worries.
off today.
No worries, man. No worries. Okay, so guys, let's start. Uh, Again, Hitesh and Ajinkya, I was just telling you guys, can one of you, whoever is willing to, can one of you write the three agendas of the meeting on the chat today? One is the discussion of all the matches and the preview and review. One is Prathamesh is also joining us. Another one is our meetup discussion, how we plan to go about the meetup discussion. And another one is, I have something fun for you, as usual. So that will be the third thing. All right, perfect. Guys, moving ahead. Hi, Prathamesh. Good.
Hi, Apurva.
I hope you can
Yeah.
see me.
Yes, very well, very well. So Prathamesh, Hitesh, Pramin are the new members joining us this week. Guys, glad to have you. Uh,
Pleasure is all mine.
yeah,
Thank you.
so
Thank you so much.
wonderful, guys. I'm so happy that so many of you had joined in, and every week we intend to make this bigger. And this is one platform where your opinion counts and your views matter. So let's go, guys. As you can see on the chat box, we'll be going over three things over the next 1 hour. We'll review all the matches. We'll preview some of the matches which are coming up, and we'll plan for our first meetup. So first actual offline meetup we'll plan. So for which I need your ideas on board. And at last, in the end, I have something very fun lined up for you, right? So hold your horses for that. So guys, let's start with La Liga. Our resident expert Akshit Pokarna is here. He's going to take us through some of the happenings of La Liga. Akshit, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, it was since I'm a Barcelona fan, it was a pretty good week for us, considering Real Madrid drew and Atletico had a good game, and this clash was important because we have a clash with Sevilla tomorrow night also, so we have to build up on the confidence as well. So I think this clash was important for various reasons, and the tactics which Koeman applied in this particular game, going with three center backs and five just behind the two. That's something which we haven't seen from Koeman. Three at the back. We have seen 4-1-3-2. We have seen 4-3-3, but we haven't seen three at the back. So this was a surprise, but I think it all paid off really well, and the team is starting to find its groove. apart from that, I think the last night match was a cracker between Real Sociedad and Real Madrid.
Mhm.
I mean, that's how a top six clash should be played. I mean, the intensity was, we can see the intensity from both the teams, the quality of crosses into the box. I mean, that's how I think a top six clash should be played. Nothing, I mean, not like one between Man U and Chelsea, which was a stalemate.
Okay.
There,
Okay.
I'm trying to say that there were chances for both the teams to take the lead, to equalize, and to again take the lead for both the teams. That's how it was. That's how good the game was.
Right. Right. So
Just want to add this. As a Man City fan, I loved seeing David Silva play that game. It was so good. He was like, I just loved him playing that game. He
Yes,
was
yes, absolutely.
just perfect.
who are we talking about? Sorry, I think my
David
connection
Silva,
got.
are you talking
David,
David
about?
Silva.
David
Oh,
Silva.
David Silva. Oh, yes.
Oh, he is a legend.
And he is the only experienced midfielder. He was the only experienced midfielder to start last
Mhm.
night. Both the other midfielders, they were around 20 to 23. So to carry the midfield along with those two, I mean, David Silva was exceptional yesterday.
Guys, any guesses on how many left-footed players Sociedad has? I think I could not count even while watching the match.
Sorry, what was your question?
How many left-footed players does Real Sociedad have?
Still
Like,
couldn't
I
get
was
it.
watching the game and I was watching the game against United as well, and I think I lost count of the number of left-footed players in that team. I think there's Januzaj, David Silva, there's
Oyarzabal.
Oyarzabal. I mean, oh my God, so many of them, and technically all of them really good.
Very sound technically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it is, I do have a feeling that it is a team. Sociedad is a team whose style of play suits, Europe and continental football more than. I mean, when they did come up against United, they looked very, very ordinary. So, I mean, I'm not very sure on how good the defenses in La Liga are. I mean, but of course, you can't base it on one game. It was just an observation from my end. Ravi, my man, how about your take on how the game were? Then we have Shruth, who can take us through Real Madrid's game against Sociedad again, of what he saw.
Barcelona played really well, but I'm worried about tomorrow's night. Like it's more important than La Liga match, I guess. It's what I think. So really hope.
Right. I mean, going into the game, they just got a good result against Sevilla. How much do you think that plays a factor in the game tomorrow?
I guess Sevilla will be now more prepared than they were.
That's actually a very good point. That's actually a very good point. I mean, you play one team and you lose, and you are better prepared 3 days later, right? So that's actually a good point. Anybody watched Villarreal versus Atletico Madrid? It's one of the games I was looking forward to a lot, considering it's the stature of both the teams in the league. But due to my work, I had to miss out on the game. Akshit, did you?
I only watched the first half. I think both the teams were played pretty well, but the final pass, the final quality of the third pass, the pass is in the final third. The quality of that pass lagged in Villarreal's game, whereas you see in Atletico, they are they are equipped like that, that they don't have to concede. They just have to score one, and then they can sit back for 80 minutes, and then in the last 10 minutes they can score again, and the match is theirs. That's how Atletico has been playing in the last game.
6-man defense.
Right, right.
6-3-1 formation.
Yeah.
6-3-1 formation. Okay, guys, I think I'll have to put myself on mute for a second. Sorry about this.
Burnley of La Liga.
Yeah, but they're still on top in La Liga. Burnley is
Yeah,
nowhere
they
close to the
are.
top.
There is no doubt in that. Like, I'm just comparing because just
I don't think it matters to Atletico if we complain.
There's a good game coming up this weekend, Atletico versus Real.
Yes.
Did you guys see the list of fixtures when Man City and Man United are playing each other next week? Across all leagues, did you guys see the fixture list? It's bomb.
Are we
It's,
talking
I
about
mean,
the?
I
This
think
weekend.
Dortmund is playing. I'll tell you what the weekend is next to next now. After we face Palace, Manu is playing Palace next. I think tomorrow,
Yes, Manu is playing
and
tomorrow
then
night.
next week we are facing City. Yeah, I'll tell you the fixture list. It's amazing. It's crazy.
Yes,
Today
it's
is Man
Bayern
City
versus
versus Wolves.
Dortmund this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, so this month it's Liverpool Chelsea is coming up. I think on Thursday.
Yes, on
So
Thursday.
that's another match to look out for.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liverpool Chelsea is actually 2 days later, and I think we have some Premier League games tonight as well.
Just
Yeah,
one.
just one. Man
Just one.
City's
Man City
versus.
versus Wolves.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll come to EPL. Right now we're on La Liga. So, Shruth, what did you make of Madrid's, I would say, rather disappointing, draw, considering that the derby is coming up and they could have really closed the gap. They could have used this opportunity to close the gap on them.
They did play well.
Hi, Shruth, are you there? Okay, Shruth, I think, is the silent one, not responding much. Okay, guys, let's also take the views of some of the new joinees. Hitesh, Prathamesh, and we have Ajinkya as well. Guys, and Prameen as well. Let us
I
know.
don't watch much La Liga. I just follow on internet and all the stuff. So I don't know the exact things, but I just watch highlights sometimes. So I think from the highlights which I saw, Real Madrid should have scored of one or two goals more. They could have played better, like considering how Gareth Bale played it. I thought that Real Madrid fans would have felt bad because. Uh, Am I audible?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I thought that they would have felt bad because Gareth Bale played phenomenal versus Burnley. So I
Wow.
thought that they would have felt very bad because I think they missed something. Real Madrid missed something.
Yeah, but I always felt with the reason for him not playing were reasons apart from his ability on the ball. I think it was
Injury.
more to do with other things. Could be his.
No, I think his concentration at Real Madrid was not on football. Not really concentrated on playing for the team. After they won the Champions League, after he scored an overhead, I think his relationship with Zidane was downhill from that time onwards, and I think his performances showed.
See, I would not put it that way. I think it was the other way around. I think he started getting benched about 3 years ago a lot because he was somehow not fitting in the system, and
Also, he was forcing for a move to China. I think in between last season,
Last season, not
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Last
he
summer.
was forcing a move to China, and the club
He was
didn't
getting
want
a
to let him go.
million dollars a week. He was getting $1 million a week.
But with
Yeah,
He would
Gary,
not go.
I would not sum up everything of what has happened over the past 2-3 years. I think you need to see the 6-7 years, the trajectory in which his time at the club has gone. It's just not been okay. I mean, he's been benched, and he's not been happy with being benched for a lot of the games, a lot of the big games. From there, it has all been downhill since. You know,
Also, I think Real Madrid's performance is just a reflection of Ronaldo leaving. I think he was very important to the team. All round, his contribution, goals, assists, connecting in the play. I
I
think
was
Ronaldo was
recently
very
reading
important to
something.
them,
I was
and I don't think they have a proper number 9 in that case. Benzema is good. He's scoring goals, but not like Ronaldo. He's not producing 40 goals a season. That's different. What Ronaldo provided to the team, I think that downfall was coming. The downfall right now we are seeing of Madrid. It's not downfall also, but yeah, the performances show.
I don't really think that's the problem, that they're missing a 40 goal a season striker or a winger. I think the problem is the other players aren't contributing much. If we have at least 2-3 players who can get you 15-20 goals, I think that's a less number. But still, I think then also the ship would be sailing nicely as compared to what it is
Fair
right now.
point, but see, I mean, two players contributing 50 goals, that contributes 30 goals a season. Ronaldo was giving 40 goals a season, which is, I think, close to contribution of three players.
Not only scoring goals wins you matches, also defending goals wins you matches. If you
Madrid's
like, it's
defense,
like we can see the example of Leeds. You can go out and score how many you want, but if you concede that much, you would not win every match. It's not only
yeah,
about scoring, is it?
but Madrid's defense, I don't really think that's a problem, no?
But
I mean, I don't
yeah, it
follow
is
La
not
Liga that much.
exactly the problem, but I'm just countering your point. I'm not countering the like what you are saying. I'm just countering not only like I'm just saying ki, if you just go and score goals, it doesn't guarantee you a win.
Yeah,
You also have
absolutely.
to defend.
Cool. I mean, defense is quite important.
Yes, the Madrid defense has we cannot it has depleted since Ronaldo left. I have a feeling that they have depleted. I'm not saying that they are absolutely finished, but the quality that they had when they won the Champions League 3 years continuously, and the quality with which we compare them to now, I think it has depleted.
So I think we can say
Also,
Modric is getting old. Modric has laggy legs. I think we can say that midfield and defense both are underperforming because Casemiro and Modric was, I think, the pair before when they won the Champions League, right? And it was Ramos and Varane at the back with Carvajal, Marcelo on the back, right? So we
They
can say Modric is getting old and they need another midfielder.
they have midfielder, but due to injuries, you see the impact Fede Valverde had on last game. Fede Valverde literally came in at 75th or 77th minute, and within 13 goals, he had such an impact that Madrid equalized. I'm not saying he actually created or assisted the goal, but the pressure and the running around which Madrid used to do 3 years ago, and which Fede Valverde does now, and what Modric does now, or any of the three midfielders, that's I think a point of difference.
Yeah, good point. I think I have
I
not
think,
watched a lot of Valverde, so I don't know.
I
Also,
think they
also
just need
I,
too many
I, I
players to replace at the same time. You want to replace Ronaldo, you have to replace Modric, you have to replace so many of these players all at the same time. I think it's one of those. So
yeah,
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 exactly.
it's
Prathamesh.
just like
Yeah,
a
exactly. The planning has somehow been very weak for Real Madrid, I feel, because obviously it's not an easy job to fill the boots of Cristiano Ronaldo. But at the same time, when we see the current attacking lineup, I think they lack a bit of maturity in there. Uh, you see Vinicius Junior or say Rodrigo or the other guys who have been stepping into the attacking formation. Uh, Somehow the maturity that Ronaldo showed is lacking a lot right now. At times we see they are pretty much in a haste to score a goal or to take a shot. Somehow there's always a chance lost in the midfield.
Right, guys, moving on to the next league. But before that, there's a big game coming up tomorrow, Barca Sevilla, and there's a big game coming up on Sunday, Atletico versus Real Madrid. If I can, I would love to know your predictions on the chat, and let's see
I
who's
think you
going.
forgot Thursday's game. Liverpool Chelsea is Thursday.
Hey
He was
man, we are
talking about the La Liga.
Only
we're
La
on La
Liga.
Liga.
Pure La Liga.
So we're on La Liga right now. We'll move on to Serie A. We'll move on to EPL. Right. So hold your horses, man. I'll get your predictions on EPL as well. No worries. All right. Akshit obviously says 4-1 Sevilla. Prathamesh says Atletico 1, Madrid 0. Akshit says Atletico 1, Real Madrid 1. Okay. That everybody predicts that to be a close game. Huh? Of course, you're biased. Shaurya says 0-0 Sevilla. Okay. So Sevilla to go through. Ramin says Barca 2, Sevilla 1. Again, I think Sevilla to go through. Athletic 2-1 to Athletic. So a lot of you saying that Barca will get knocked out. Okay, Hitesh says otherwise, and Atletico to win. So guys, perfect. How many of you follow Italian Serie A? Yeah.
Sometimes.
All right. There was one big game, Milan versus
Roma.
Milan nicked it 2-1. Anyone was able to watch the game? I saw the highlights. But don't know
Milan versus Roma, right?
That's right. That's right.
No, I didn't watch it.
Right.
I didn't watch the match, but obviously it was an important win for AC Milan, not just because they are slumping, because they are off the pace slightly, but because they had to stop this wretched run they were on lately. And Roma is never an easy place to visit. I mean, you can ask the Barcelona fans over here. You can ask us Chelsea fans.
I
They
would
also
agree
lost
there.
3-0.
I would agree.
Anyways, it's a different Roma side now, but still, it's not an easy fixture. So good to get the win. But Inter Milan right now seem to be in the groove, and they look like, I won't say that's not a like for like comparison, but the way Man City are running away with it right now, it could happen if they can continue this run.
Man City are 12 points clear.
Yeah, but they also started with a gap of 3 points, right?
I mean, people start somewhere, but I think right now comparing Inter to Man City was a little far-fetched for me, in my opinion.
I'm not talking in terms of that again. I said not a like for like comparison. Just the way they are dominating the Premier League, I guess Inter Milan can dominate the Serie A from here on.
I think there's another Milan derby which is left, I think, in the season, or all the derbies are completed. Both are played.
Both, I think, completed.
In the league, I guess both of them have played, or there was one cup match also.
If there is another derby left, I don't think it's a legit comparison because AC Milan can close the gap 3 points, and then Inter just have to drop or draw one match. I think
Yeah, I mean, even
any
if
team
it-
can do that.
Both
But
the
yeah,
derbies are there. Both the
Juventus-
fixtures have been completed.
Yeah, Juventus has a game in hand, and if they could close the point to 7 points,
Juventus had a chance. They drew against Verona in their last game. They had a good chance because
Yeah.
Hellas Verona is is a team you can beat. At least Juventus can beat, I feel, and then miss the opportunity, I feel.
yeah, I mean, I mean, I get your point, Hitesh, but I think the comparison is maybe not the best. Since I think Man City has pretty much won the league, and like you said, with the derby to go, it could go either way. It could.
No, the both derbies have been played.
Both derbies have been played, yes.
No, but I mean, Inter Milan aren't in any of the European competitions, so the main focus is all on the league. So that gives them an edge in winning, like in going.
That's a plus.
Does it really that AC Milan still has to play on Thursday nights and then?
Yes, and that too Manchester United. So yes, there is a pressure because a 3-day gap and another team getting a 1-week gap. That makes a difference.
That makes a huge difference. So Inter Milan, they're on 56 points. They have a 4-point lead over AC Milan, who has a 6-point lead over Juventus, who has a game in hand. It looks close enough, but obviously Inter Milan being the firm favorites for the title. Guys, since we're on AC Milan, their draw against Manchester United, Ibra is out for both the legs, apparently. What do you make of that? What do you make of that tie? Very quickly.
Firstly,
have been
Zlatan is
actually.
injured.
Ibrahimovic back at United.
Zlatan is injured.
He's injured, yeah.
I feel still Milan has a chance of winning. They are strong.
mean,
Without Zlatan also, they are strong.
Right. Hey,
United will definitely go through.
we have a new member.
There's no doubt.
right
But
now.
the way United are playing, there is no chance. Like there is a big chance, but I think United will go through.
Away goals might be crucial in this fixture,
I feel it will be a close game.
I think the difference in quality between the Premier League and the Serie
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything against Serie A, but I think that quality should show. It's basically second place in EPL versus second place in Serie A. So I do fancy, obviously as a follower of United as well, I do fancy to for them to go through. We have a new member joining us, Aditya. Welcome.
Hey guys, hi. So actually, I just slipped off my mind, so I joined a bit late.
No worries. As long as you join and be a part of us, we're all happy. So we were just
Give me a
discussing-
minute. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, sure. So guys, just to recap, we've touched upon La Liga, the matches that happened this week and are going to happen. We touched upon Serie A. Now we move on to EPL. I know we have a lot of EPL followers here. Miran is looking at us and yeah, last time you made fun of me, Liverpool lost. Today he's here, won against Sheffield, and he's all excited to give his lowdown. And of course there are some disappointed Chelsea fans after what happened on Sunday against Man United. I mean, it's disappointing in the sense that as a spectacle, it was very disappointing. Maybe as a result, it's not a bad result for either of the teams, I would say. So, guys, moving on to EPL, we have Pranay. Pranay, would you like to take us through the big game in EPL? Before that, guys, let's have a look at some of the other interesting fixtures that happened on. I'm just going to share my screen. I know Man City played West Ham. That was a very, very good
That
game.
was an interesting.
Very good
Yeah,
game.
very good game.
That was a very, very good game. Obviously, like Man City, the way they, played in the second half of that game, I think it just shows that the title is for them to lose. Definitely. They look like a champion team. They look like a champion team. And
And the best
The
part
both
is
center
the
backs
best
scored.
part is Stone and Diaz have scored goal,
Yeah, the
and
both center backs.
it was so good. It was so good
I
seeing
actually
Diaz
wrote,
score.
I wrote on the app as well, like Diaz's goal was the most unlike Man City goal ever. Like a cross and a defender heading.
But it was
Fair
long
enough.
time coming. It was long time coming. I was thinking, why have we not scored yet? Because the way I've always seen whenever there is a corner or anything, Diaz is the first person who he literally goes, "Ki, you go there, you go there." He's a leader. I was thinking he would score. He would have scored one or two before also, but it was quite surprising because it took a very long time for him to score goal.
Right.
But it
Guys,
was good.
talking about surprising, I was very surprised at Arsenal's comeback against Leicester. I think I've watched football long enough for not to not expect Arsenal to make any kind of comebacks, but that was actually a very, very good
But
performance.
I think Willian and Pepe, two players who have come under a lot of criticism, they played
Stepped up.
really well.
They
Yeah.
played well in
They
this.
stepped up.
Willian has given 2 assists also.
Yeah.
And apparently he's the highest assist maker in this,
This
For
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
which is just bizarre. I mean,
Yeah, because people were trolling him like anything, but he is assisting. He's playing fairly well.
yeah. Hey, Ajinkya, what team do you support? It seems like
Manchester City.
Man City. Okay. But it seems like you have enough time to watch all the games, man. Awesome.
Not all the games. I do watch just highlights or some, like I follow BR Football 433. So just
Perfect.
graze.
Perfect. Awesome. Guys, Leeds versus Aston Villa. I think that is a huge win for Aston Villa, going away to Leeds and getting
Without Grealish.
Without Grealish.
Grealish.
But keeping a clean sheet against Leeds, that's, I think,
Clean feet.
That's something. That's yeah. I mean, they are a very, very well drilled, organized team, and there's no. I mean, I'm talking about Aston Villa. Leeds, of course, is more classical in the sense that it's more like, okay, you attack and we attack and we'll see who wins, who scores the most number of goals.
I guess Leeds was perhaps the best choice of opponent Aston Villa could have had in the absence of Grealish. I mean, everyone knows that Leeds perhaps they just forget defending at times. They are fully concentrating on attack, and in the absence of Grealish, I think that was something that opponent they could have expected for to play against, so that they don't feel the void that Grealish won't be there.
I have one unpopular opinion about Aston Villa's goalkeeper. Martinez is, after Ederson, of course, is the best goalkeeper in EPL right now.
No, I would disagree. I think he is the best. He's better than Edison.
No.
Oh no,
Edison
he definitely is better than Edison.
that's a City fan speaking. City fan speaking.
I'm not sure if we can compare Ederson to Martinez.
Edison is just, he's the best. For me, Edison is one of my favorite players is Edison. I am a goalkeeper myself, so I love goalkeepers anyways. But the way he plays, he assisted Gundogan, and from that you cannot Martinez does is a good goalkeeper, but Edison is the best goalkeeper in EPL right now. Seeing the clean sheets also, so
No, but
Yeah,
not
I guess the
yeah,
clean sheets is more down to his back four.
exactly.
Back four,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
last year back four was not very good. Last year we were having problems in defense. He was still the Golden Glove keeper.
The
I
250.
think if you're talking about best keepers in the league, it has to be Allison. Barring the errors he has made in recent matches, I think he has to be the best keeper. He is by a mile for me. I mean, for a United fan to say it's a very difficult thing, I'll own it up, but he's by a mile for me the best.
Guys,
But
speaking of goalkeeper,
But
how good
I
was
don't think so. Like Allison is the best because as soon as Van Dijk went, Allison is making errors, and
yeah, right.
when United's defense was shit as fuck, De Gea was still the number one.
Yeah.
So
De Gea
it depends on your defense as well. City's defense is right now solid as fuck. So Edison has having a very few chances to like save against. De Gea was making like tactically dead on saves at that point of time. That's why he was number one. I believe that.
guys, it
but
also
Depends
depends on
upon your
Like
back
went
four.
out months ago, and Allison's making error a few weeks now.
Yeah, I beg to differ with Aditya because when Van Dijk got injured and he was out, so it was in the following weeks that Joey Gomez also got injured.
Yeah.
Matip was also injured. So basically, there was nobody who would own up the entire defense, and that's where Alisson stepped in. Yeah, of course, there were a couple of mistakes here and there that happened in recent weeks, but that was bound to happen because he was. There were two new centre backs in front of him. There was Kabak, there was Henderson. So obviously there was bound to have some miscommunication in the coordination. So yeah, I mean, as a Liverpool fan, of course it's very bad to see a goalkeeper making those errors, but I would just give him a longer rope over there.
No, I think I would disagree because I understand that communication also matters, but his mistakes were clear goalkeeping errors more than communication. Like for
Yeah.
example, the one against Leicester, he just went out the box trying to hit the ball, completely missed
And
it.
missed.
It wasn't more than communication, it was clear goalkeeping error. He should have stayed instead
There
of.
was a fact I was reading that Kepa and Allison's joined at the same time, and to my surprise, Allison have made more mistakes than Kepa leading to goal. And
No,
I
I
would
don't think we should
I was
talk
quite
about that.
surprised by that.
But
See, the
Kepa
problem
is, I
with
think,
Kepa is he doesn't make errors as such. What he does is he cannot make a save. I mean, against Kepa, if you just shoot, there are chances you will score. So that's where I think that's why Allison, because he makes those kind of errors like wrong pass or something. Kepa doesn't do that. He just doesn't. He's just not able to make save.
I think in that matter, as that comes, with that point, I think Kepa and Jordan Pickford are the same. They're sticky fingers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
but
you
this week-
shoot, you take your chance against them, you have a goal. You have a very good chance of scoring.
No, but Pickford is still a good goalkeeper. When you
No,
compare,
I mean, in my opinion, Jordan, I think there are better goalkeepers who deserve to be number one for England. Nick Pope is one of them for me.
Yeah.
Dean Henderson.
Dean Henderson is there.
I don't
Nick
really
Pope is
think Dean
there.
Henderson current form पे you can't say anything, but Nick Pope on current form,
Nick
the
Pope,
way he's been
yeah.
saving
Should be the
Burnley,
number one.
I think he
Really bad
deserves
for
to be
Nick
the
Pope
number one.
yesterday.
And
Guys, I always have this opinion that when we choose the best goalkeeper, I think most of the times he belongs to a club which is not the so-called big team, because the big teams, no disrespect to the smaller ones, have better defenses and they face lesser shots. But if you look at teams outside the big six, for example, they don't have the best defenses and they face more shots, and their keepers get tested more
Exactly.
compared to the better keepers. So that's why I feel Martinez is in there, Nick Pope is in there.
Guys, I know Burnley lost 4-0, but how good was Nick Pope's performance in that game?
amazing.
Not that great.
no,
No,
I'm
He
not.
made
He did
one
two
fine.
great
He
saves.
made
Okay,
decent saves in the
I should
game.
rephrase. How good was he in the second half? Just for 45
He
minutes.
did two great saves. One was Son's and another one was Kane's. Long shot, puts it over.
Yeah.
Around 25 yards.
Yeah, but Bale's second goal was supposed to be saved.
Yeah.
Someone like
True,
Nick Pope, who is
He stood
like,
there. He
everyone
just
is
stood
talking about
there.
Nick Pope being the number one keeper. He should have saved the second goal of Gareth Bale.
Guys, if I may say, it all depends on how you look at goalkeeping. Goalkeeping is, I mean, if you look at it has a role where you have to save a lot of shots, then I think that's a very, very, what do you say, reductionist way of looking at it. The way goalkeepers these days are looked at is obviously how your team is able to play the ball out from the back. One of
Right.
the major indicators traditionally at elite level football has been how a goalkeeper organizes his defense. And I mean, I remember Edwin van der Sar was one of the top guys with regards to organizing his defense in whichever team he played. So obviously there are different indicators. I would say, for example, if you put De Gea in Man City's team,
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't work out. But if you do put Edison in United, it definitely works out. It definitely improves.
Edison is he if he was not a goalkeeper, he would have been a midfielder.
But honestly, I prefer Allison over all the other.
It's a personal choice. I believe that.
Of course. So as is yours.
Yeah,
It's
right,
your
right,
choice,
right.
my personal choice, right?
Actually,
So
there's very little that separates Ederson and Alisson.
true.
Like
Just think about the Brazilian national team. They are having two spectacular goalkeepers.
And traditionally Brazil has known. I mean, traditionally, like years ago, was known to have jokers for keepers, like this reputation of goalkeepers being erratic and eccentric, and it all comes from a lot of it comes from South America. And yeah, they used to. I mean, they won the World Cup with that goalkeeper. What was his name in 2002?
Dida? No, who was
No, not Dida. There's another guy. Dida was just breaking into the scene, but yeah, good goalkeepers, man. They're producing. And guys, the big game, Chelsea versus United. I know Liverpool. Miran, you want to say anything on Liverpool? I think it was a route.
I don't know if anyone saw the match, but Sheffield's goalkeeper was also very good during the match. I don't know if anyone saw. Ramsdale, he made.
Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah. And Firmino, what should I say about him? He was just missing big chances. He had 2-3 big chances. I know he scored one, but it was known as an own goal.
But I think the goal which he scored, he scored some really good.
Yeah.
Guys, the big debating point over the weekend in EPL, was it a handball or no?
Not a penalty.
Definitely a penalty.
Definitely
a penalty.
That was a penalty.
That was a definite hands-on pen.
No, I'm ready
As
to
a
sit
City
all
fan,
night.
as a City fan, I would say it was a penalty. It's because I would not support Man United or anything, but it seemed like a penalty.
Not at all.
Blatant.
Completely.
Come on, the ball touched twice.
Luke Shaw said, was that true?
Hold on. Guys,
No, it
half of you think it was a penalty.
It
Half of
was
you
true, but he heard was wrong.
So Siddhant, I would like to know why you think it was not a penalty.
First of all, two basic things. One is natural and unnatural position, that concept. And secondly, Christensen in the Chelsea website has made a statement saying Chelsea were the first team to appeal for handball because the ball apparently touched Mason Greenwood first. And then as I told about natural and unnatural position.
Siddharth, that's how it looked to me. I thought it was Greenwood's handball. That's how it looked.
I also thought that.
I also
but that was a stonewall penalty. I'll tell you why, because this is not a natural position.
This is you are up over here and you cannot say that this is not a natural position.
Not at all.
And even though
like that.
Luke Shaw came out in the interview and said that referee said to him that this was a stonewall penalty. I cannot give this because it will make a lot of talks. So even the FA is checking up on them, on Oli and Luke Shaw as well.
Can I just interject?
Suspending Luke Shaw, but then they denied it.
Just give me a second.
Something happened.
Okay, so I'll moderate this from now on. I think there are too many voices coming in. So I'll call out your name. If you want something, just like raise your finger like this. I'll call your name out and I will give you 30 seconds to speak. Is that fair? Yeah.
Cool.
And then we can move on. Yeah. So, okay, we were on Aditya, right? So Aditya, your 30 seconds starts now.
Okay, perfect. So I would like to say the first thing, it was hands down, it was penalty. Okay, firstly, I also think that Greenwood was touching it and I was like, okay, fuck it, it's gone. But then I saw that it was touching the hand. Why? I don't understand this. Why was the play stopped if it was not going to give a penalty? First thing is that VAR stops it when you have to change the decision. So why was the VAR stopped? Second thing, Luke Shaw said in his interview that Harry Maguire was told by the referee that it was a hands-down penalty, but I cannot give this. FA is also challenging Ole and Luke Shaw as well on their comments over referee. Even
Okay,
though it's
Pranay,
turned down.
Pranay. Okay, we move on to Pranay. Thanks, Aditya. Yeah.
No, I just want to say in
Some really
today's
funny
world,
comments in the chat box, guys. Check it out. But yeah, Pranay, go for it.
I just want to say I don't know what handball is in today's world.
Yeah, same. Neither do me. Yeah, I mean, neither do I.
Accepted.
I played a lot of football. I coached a lot of football. I've studied the laws of the game, like a lot of the times, but I still don't know what handball is. But
Good.
the thing is, once it goes
Unintentional.
to VAR, right? Because there's a doubt, obviously, in the referee's mind, and he wants to make a decision. Once it goes to VAR, then it's clearly shown in the the video. Okay, it was a handball, and for me, okay, it would have been a penalty out of the context of the game, 100%, because that 1 second incident is totally out of context, totally unjust if it's given against you. That is number one. But if you really interpret the laws of the game, that's a handball. The ball hits the hand, the arm is outstretched. It is Siddhant, not a natural position. But I understand that, okay, in the context of the game, you can't really give those kind of decisions, But having said that, had it hit Greenwood's hand, and he would have taken an advantage of that and scored, I think a hand would
It
have
would have stopped.
it would have been given. A handball would have been given, right? So
I think if this incident
I have
occurred
one point
outside
to
the
add.
box, a
hey,
free kick
guys,
would have
your
been
hands,
given.
your hands. Even I'm raising my hands. Okay, yeah, Ajinkya, 30 seconds, man.
Yeah, so firstly, it was an handball because, as you said, it was not a natural position. And I would like to say to all Man United fans that you have to stop crying over that penalty, because last time when Man United faced Chelsea, Harry Maguire just literally jumped on Azpilicueta and no penalty was given.
See, Ajinkya, then
No, I'm just pointing it out.
we
I'm
can
just
go 20 years back, 15 years.
no. I'm just pointing it
We're
out.
talking about one incident, so let's stick to that.
Yeah, so it was an unnatural position. It should have been given a penalty because it was clear. I thought it ball touched twice. First over here, and then thought I somewhere here or here. So it should have been given a penalty. Not
Okay,
that.
Ritesh, over to you, man.
See, I think it was not a natural position. Adding on to whatever everybody has said, you can't have your hand here and call it a natural position. And second of all, what Aditya said, that Luke Shaw came out and spoke about what referee spoke to Maguire about, which was discredited by Man United, that, maybe Luke Shaw has misheard the referee and all of that. They did not come out and support the player. That's fine. But that was a stonewall penalty. And as Pranay pointed out, if it was outside the box, it would have been a free kick, legit free kick.
Legend.
So if there is a foul being given outside over play over a handball, the rule, I think, I don't know, I have not studied the rule. If it's a handball, it's a handball inside the box and outside the box as well. So I think for me that was a penalty. And at first sight, I thought it was Greenwood's handball. That's all.
Okay. I would like to go to Pranay. I'm coming to you. I want to know Akshit's views on this. I know he doesn't say anything outside La Liga, but I value his. So Akshit, give us his-
You guys, this type of decisions happen every weekend in La Liga. That's all I can say.
Okay, that's all. 30 seconds wrapped into 3 seconds right there. Yes, Pranay, over to you, man.
Okay, so I was just wanting to say that okay, it might have been a penalty. It went to VAR, and when the referee will see it again, he'll definitely give it. But come on, you cannot say that okay, it was a penalty, but it was a very poor performance by Man United. You should accept that, and you should move on. You should be happy that you got a draw from such a poor performance. That's what I'm feeling. So yeah, we can just move on.
Okay. Yes, Aditya, you got it. You got your 30 seconds.
I choose to disagree. Firstly, Chelsea.
No. Your next opinion, it has to be a paid opinion. You, no, I'm kidding. Go for it. Okay, last views before we just preview the next round of matches. Yes, Aditya, go for it.
So, firstly, I choose to disagree. The first thing is that Chelsea, seeing their lineup, And seeing their bench, they didn't even create enough chances. Only one chance by Giroud's header. That was it. Chelsea was doing nothing. They didn't even
GXP.
have the possession, and there was no tactical game by Tuchel as well. I felt so that they could have created very more chances, but tactically they were cut off everywhere. And I don't think so. It was a very poor performance. It was an average performance. Everything that we're doing is counter-attacking against the big six. We all know that. Accepted that fact. But the thing is that it was not very poor, and Chelsea could have done better with the bench and the squad they have.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's a good point. That's a fair. I thought United could have done better as well. Ajinkya, that Bruno Fernandes goes missing in the games against the top six. I think the whole Man United team was missing in games against the top six, not just Bruno there. So, guys, moving on to the games that are coming up, there's one tonight, as we know. I think Man City Wolves is the one tonight.
Yeah, right.
Oh, awesome. Guys, can we have your predictions? I don't think we have enough time to analyze and preview the games, but I would love to have your prediction on it.
If Foden plays or Bernardo plays, I would say a 2-0 victory to Manchester City.
If not,
If Foden and Bernardo play, there is a easy chance that 2-0 to City. And if Bernardo and Foden don't play, I would think that a 1-0 would be enough, because I'm not saying that KDB is bad. I can never say that. I'm just saying that Foden and Bernardo just pulls, like, they are very attacking players. So I like that kind of football. So for me, I'm not saying that put KDB out, of course, because we have so many good players. It's very tough to put few in the three, to decide three, because there is Gundogan, KDB, Bernardo, and so many players. So
right. So every predicting so we have a prediction by Shaurya, who's not being able to put his camera on today. He's saying 2-0 to Wolves. Wow, that's interesting. 1-1 says Pramin. Bhupinder says 2-1 to City. Guys, what about Crystal Palace versus Manchester United, and then Liverpool versus Chelsea? What do you think about those games? You know what? After all this, we don't have an Arsenal fan on board to actually speak about
Have anybody seen that on Instagram? It's on Instagram that Arsenal should not be considered as a big six. No, I've seen a lot of memes that
people are saying instead of Arsenal, it should be Leicester.
Yeah.
Leicester definitely. Arsenal, obviously, I mean, the club is going through has been some time now, a bad patch. But I think there are too big a club to be out of the top. I think there are maybe 2 or 3 transfer windows away from making a decent comeback into the top 6. Guys, Liverpool versus Chelsea. Can we have our predictions? I know we have some Chelsea fans, some Liverpool fans. Siddhant Shetty, positive about the game against Liverpool. Then we'll come to Siddhant Murlidhar, who's a Liverpool fan. We'll see.
Okay, to be honest, it would be really crazy to tell that Chelsea would win. I think it's going to be a draw, 1-1. Although Liverpool's performance have been shaky, but I think it's going to be a draw.
Yes, Siddhant.
0-0.
The other Siddhant.
I'm going to go with the draw too. So I don't
being it
create as much so.
Right. And Shaurya has gone to 3-2 Liverpool victory. Perfect, guys. Guys, any ISL followers here?
Okay, before that, Apur, I have a small prediction to make.
Go for it.
About Leicester City. Because I think Leicester would not just I don't think they would make top 4. I also think they won't make top 6 this season. That's just a random prediction from my side because of their next few fixtures. Luckily, they have 3 easy games, 3 easy match weeks. And after that, they play City, West Ham, and their last 3 games are Tottenham, United, and Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
Also, their injuries, Maddison, Harvey Barnes, and a total of 9 players are injured. Right. And also saw how the mentality has changed in the team. Within a week, they've lost 2 games, which are possibly considered like a win-win for them. So I think they might even drop out of top 6 because the points are very close between Everton, Villa, and then Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham.
A very, very interesting point, Siddhant. And also, we need to keep in mind that they did bottle it last year. They were very, very much in the race for top 4. and they bottled it in the last, I think, 8 or 9 games, which was, I think, for me, incredible, incredible.
Don't know if anyone watches Bundesliga, but we
Yeah,
have Bayern
yeah.
versus Dortmund.
Bayern versus Dortmund, guys. I'm always for Dortmund on this, the underdog.
Yeah, Dortmund.
I think Dortmund and Mönchengladbach.
Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Guys, Crystal Palace versus Man United. Again, a potential banana skin for United. Can we have our predictions on the chat and then we move on to the next segment of our session? Have a look. Okay, how many ISL followers here?
I used to be. Just this week I've not watched. So
Guys, Mumbai has been crowned the champions of
Yeah, right. I heard that.
take you through it. Our community member Diptesh, who's a huge not Atletico, sorry, ATK Mohan Bagan fan, is not here today. He would have, I can assume why. They were 3 points away from the title. They had 2 games in hand, and they went and bottled it. And yeah, Mumbai has been crowned the champions this time. So congrats.
Again, that City Football Group club.
Hey, man, stop taking brownie points from everybody, bro. Like, there's no relation between Mumbai City and Man City except for the name City. That's all.
No, it is a City Football Group. It's a club of City Football.
It's Club of City Football.
I know, bro. I know, but I'm saying, stop. There's no relation there. No, Guardiola wished them and everything, but seriously, no. Okay, I'm kidding.
They have qualified AFC Champions League as well.
Yeah.
Mumbai City, like they haven't won the ISL
I'm
yet.
pretty sure you also celebrate New York City's victories, huh? they're affiliated to Man City. Come on, man.
I'm just saying.
I know. I'm kidding. I'm pulling your leg. Guys, so yeah, fantastic performance from Northeast United.
Come back.
9 games under Khalid Jamil, 6 victories, 3 draws, top 4. Fantastic. Unlucky that Hyderabad dropped down to 5th position. They could have come in the top 4. Let's have a look at the ISL standings as well, guys, before we move on. But if there's just nobody following it, I think we'll just move on to our next segment. All right, guys.
Goa is consistently into the playoffs, by the way. I mean,
Prathamesh, speak louder. I can't hear you. At least I can't. I don't know about others.
am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that FC Goa has been consistently qualifying for playoffs. I guess barring couple of seasons, they have always been the constant name in playoffs.
Yeah. They've gone 13 games unbeaten this season. So I mean, what a fantastic.
Out of 2013 unbeaten, that's a good.
That's a huge achievement.
Especially after losing Lobera, after losing Murtada Fall, also I guess Boomers, the couple of I guess four odd players from FC Goa joined Mumbai City, and in spite of that, their balance, I guess, it stayed intact.
The whole management changed. The whole management was shifted to so it was quite like it was almost like FC Goa just the Mumbai City FC just robbed FC Goa. I felt like that.
Yeah, almost they bought their entire core, like Mandar Rao Desai, Murtada Fall, the coach itself.
Right. Yeah, FC Goa has been like remarkably consistent over the last few seasons. They're under Lobera also they were like fantastic to watch. I remember watching some of their games. Really good. It's one of the teams in ISL that I have enjoyed watching the season. And yeah, congratulations to Mumbai City FC. I know Kashyap is not here with us. He's a Mumbai City fan. I'm sure he's out there somewhere either celebrating or he's passed out from all the celebration. One of the two. So, all right, guys, fantastic. So, moving on to the next segment of our session today. Guys, I know this community has been growing over the past few months. Some of you are new, some of you are old. We have people like Akshit, Pranay, Siddhant, who've been around, Miran, Shruth for a long time. Thanks for being, and there are some newcomers as well. What do you make? I want to know from you. Again, we'll keep it like very short, and I want to know from you, if you have an opinion, you can raise your hand, and I'll come to you. on what ways, number one, on what ways do you think we can improve our interaction on the app? And the second thing is, we want to do an actual meetup, right? So, for example, I'm in Bangalore right now. We have Siddhant Shetty here in Bangalore, and I'm going to start an event poll in the app, and we're going to organize a meetup. I know a lot of you are from Mumbai as well, so let's do that. So I want to know your opinion on these two things. If you have anything in mind, please speak up. Maybe
I had one suggestion which I think most of would have, like maybe a watch along for big games.
yes, watch along is something, guys. Again, it takes up 2 to 3 hours of one's time, so it's not something I can promise on a regular basis. But 100%, we should start with one very soon, right?
Manchester Derby is coming.
Yep. Next weekend.
Exactly. Let's see what time is the derby, because see, my week.
It's 10 o'clock.
10 p.m.
10 p.m.
On Saturday.
Sunday.
I guess it's Saturday.
Saturday.
Check once.
That can be
If
done.
it's Saturday, then it would be 11 p.m.
No, it's 10.
Then it has to be Sunday.
It's Sunday. It's Sunday.
Sunday, I guess.
I think it's Saturday. What I heard.
No, it's